Welcome to Kitchen 101, where you learn how to think like a chef. How to cook, not what to cook. Today you will learn about the history of the grill and its place in Americana. So grab yourself a pen, paper, and a long set of tongs, because I'm Professor Kitchen, and class is in session. The grill is almost ubiquitous in the American household. When, back in the startup days of the Food Network, a young upstart chef named Bobby Flay had a show called Grillin' and Chillin', no one batted an eye. It was weirder that there would be a TV station 100% dedicated to food than if that station had a show dedicated to cooking only on a grill. A grill is an amazing thing. It is simultaneously a stove and an oven. You can cook directly on the grill grates or use a pan, skillet, or pot. Want a bit of that smoky flavor? Just throw some wood chips on the fire and there you go. In many ways, the grill is much more versatile than our modern day kitchen appliances. The weird thing is that the primitive cooking style of the grill was joined with the hearts of Americans during the same time that new and modern was the catchphrase of the nation. The technology boom of the 20th century brought us automobiles, air conditioning, precisely controlled ovens and stoves, pressure cookers, slow cookers, computers, televisions, and the grill?
One of these things is not like the others. One of these things doesn't belong.
Believe it or not, the rise of the grill has more to do with Henry Ford than anyone else. Let's take a look. When Ford started making his affordable Model T, he changed forever the American lifestyle. No longer was traveling more than a day's walking distance just a rich person's activity. Now, middle-class Americans can enjoy travel and experiencing the blessings of hours of pleasure in God's great open spaces, to quote Mr. Ford. Along with the ability to travel more than a few miles from civilization came the need for meals on those travels. Roads during that time period were really nothing more than glorified trails. There was no interstate road system, no chains of fast food joints at every small town, not even any motels. None of that had been invented yet. A multi-day travel always meant camping out and cooking over an open fire. The Model T required about 100 feet of lumber to manufacture. Henry Ford decided he needed his own supply of lumber for all that wood. In the 1920s, he bought a large tract of land in Iron Mountain, Michigan, where he built a sawmill and a manufacturing plant to make his wooden parts. He hired his cousin by marriage, a Mr. Edward Kingsford, to run it all. Noticing that there was quite a bit of scrap wood and sawdust that was simply being discarded, Kingsford and Ford set about looking for a way to utilize it. Let's jump back in time just a bit to fill in some backstory. In 1897, Ellsworth B.A. Zoyer filed a patent for charcoal briquettes and started the Zoyer Fuel Company to manufacture them. They weren't exactly a rousing success. In 1926, Orrin Stafford patented a process for pressing the charcoal briquettes into a convenient uniform lump that gave off a lot of heat and very little smoke or ash. Ford decided that these briquettes would be a perfect way to monetize the scrap wood. He enlisted the aid of his former employer and fellow inventor, Thomas Edison, to design his charcoal factory right there next to his car parts manufacturing plant in what is now Kingsford, Michigan. By the mid-1930s, Ford dealerships were selling picnic kits consisting of portable grills and charcoal briquettes as add-ons to the now extremely popular Ford automobiles. This combination was fire!
It's like fire.
Soon, Ford charcoal was in stores across America as people started using these Ford grills not just when traveling, but also while at home. Later, the Ford Motor Company would divest the charcoal arm of the business, and it would be renamed to Kingsford Charcoal in honor of Edward Kingsford. The Dust Bowl of the Great Depression and the need for factory workers during the Second World War had killed many of the family farms that had been the American way of life. The servicemen returning from the war found America far different than the one they left. The new America was much more urban than before. These well-trained, highly skilled, and emotionally mature veterans were very much in demand in the new city businesses and new suburban way of life. Now that family homes were no longer large plots of land, the grill became even more sought after. Spending some time outdoors was not a necessity for the new urbanites, but a luxury. In the hot days of summer, it was much better to grill outside in the shade than to heat up the whole house with an oven and stove. Unlike today, most houses then were poorly insulated, and if they had air conditioning at all, it simply couldn't keep up with the summer heat and a hot oven. Being outside where there was at least a breeze, talking with your family and neighbors was much more comfortable. In the early 1950s, George Stephan, part owner of the Weber Brothers Metalworks Company, loved to grill but hated when the wind blew up ash from the coals onto his food. Taking one of the metal buoys that his company made, cutting it in half and then welding 3 legs on it, he made a great grill, but one that still had an ash problem. He then took a piece of metal, beat it into a semicircular shape that would fit on top of his new grill, and screwed a wooden handle on it. Loving this, he took it home and started using it. At first his neighbors laughed at the new design and nicknamed it the Sputnik because of its similarity to the USSR's spacecraft. However, it wasn't long before they were seeing the results of this design and asking George to make them one too. Seeing a business opportunity, George started manufacturing and selling these grills through his company. Soon the demand for the grills far outweighed the demand for the buoys. George bought out the other owners of the company and renamed it to the Weber Stevens Products. He had modernized and revolutionized grills and grilling with this one simple invention. Today, there are many makers of grills and many styles of grills. Some still resemble that first half-buoy grill that George Stevens made famous. There are some that are long so that the fire can be built at one end and the heat can be more easily adjusted. Some even have a firebox attached so that grilling and smoking can be done at the same time. There are even gas-powered grills for those times when you don't want to go messing around with charcoal. The next time you go out and fire up your grill, remember that while grilling is as old as humanity, you probably wouldn't be enjoying that smoky goodness without Henry Ford, Edward Kingsford, and George Stephen. What's your favorite thing to throw on the grill? Let me know down in the comments below. If you like this video, then I'm sure you'll also like the video on your left. It's about the history of barbecue. Thank you for coming to class today. I hope you have a great week. God bless. Class dismissed.